Now let's assume we are a team of threat hunters or cyber threat intelligence, and we received a TPO report from our network team that they have very sporadic queries to some very interesting domains, and they don't know what to do with this, and they would like to really understand what that potentially means. You look at the logs and you found that the domains which being queried by your internal infrastructure looks like what you remember to be domain generation algorithms. You went to internet, you found the paper, academic paper, which was analyzing the real world applicability of this domain generation algorithms. You went to section 6 and you found that there are several known algorithms described in this paper. Looking in the regular expressions and the logs you receive from your network team, you identify that potentially the domains which you can see in the logs might potentially fit in this regular expression. All you need to do is just copy this, go to the Farsight DNSDB Scout with flexible search, which we have announced recently on October 20th, 2020, and immediately paste it to execute regular expression search and search for hosts which would use this specific pattern. In a second, you receive something back which would be very difficult to perform by any tools on such a powerful methods as regular expression. So you go through the set of host names here. Some would be legitimate, but some might be hosts which you would want to look at closer. Just to make sure we are on the same page here. If you find a host name here, and I record a host name here, it doesn't mean it is malicious or part of the Ramnet botnet. Remember, we took this algorithm. But you can be absolutely certain that if it is Romney, then it would satisfy this regular expression. Now, being experienced threat hunters and intelligence analysts, we glance through this and we try to figure it out what potentially could be suspicious names. And we figured out that this one is something that we also found in our logs. Once again, this is completely a hypothetical scenario, but it is something that you, the threat hunter, would be facing perhaps every day. As before, you can go and see what is the neighborhood on this particular IP. So what else is being hosted on that IP? As you can see, some potentially might be benign, but some others might draw your attention any further. Let's say you would want to see what potentially this is or could be. You have a couple of A records. They are belong to this y.ac domain. What can you do with this? You may want to understand what are other domains being served by that name server. For that, you try to find what the name server served this domain. There are a couple of those. And now in one click, you can immediately uncover what are other domains being served from that name servers. To summarize, what have we done? We found in our logs a couple of suspicious entries. Through additional research, we suspected that potentially could be Ramnet sitting in our environment, in our corporate network, and trying to query its command and control center, C2. We went with this knowledge into our flexible search. We found those entries which are suspicious. And not only we figured out what our other domains are sitting on that specific suspected situ host, but also what are other domains in the neighborhood being served by that name server. What it means is we have uncovered a large part of the infrastructure for us to make a very informed decision whether what we discovered is benign or malicious. As you can see, you would need to sift through a lot of information, and for that, Scout as a graphic interface not necessarily would be the very efficient tool. For that, you would need to use API or command line interface. And then you would need to learn how to do it. And Scout helps you to learn and facilitate your learning because this is what Scout is doing, querying our API. And this is exactly the strings you would need to construct to do the query either through API directly or through command line interface.